Alright, 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 alright. I'm so tired today. My brain is fried. Oh man, man, my brain is tired. Is it 64? 64. Hey, provoking perch, how's it going? Hey, Bram Salzadatsky. What up? Oh man, today my brain is mush. There's no energy whatsoever in my brain today. My eyes are heavy. In theory, I just want to go to bed. Hey, Zealin. What up, a voodoo breakfast? What up, yo? Hey, Red Yeti. Jello. How's it going? Oh, the hero card. Yeah, I read your little text provoking push. Sounds good. Just as a reminder for the hero card, um, you don't necessarily need to be um, making you in that sense. Just as a heads up, the hero card doesn't literally need to be you. It could be any form of representation. You're like, oh, I love cars, you know. But obviously, a car might be a weird hero card. But you know, Azealia, knees weak, arms are heavy. Nah, eyelids are half lit, and I'm like dragging the brain along. Like it just want to switch off, and I was like, nope, you're gonna stay awake. You're gonna stay awake. Bram Sells. Yeah, I'm gonna do a study of him today. I think it's fair to honor his passing, or honor him when he has passed, rather. Hey, Captain Bowles. Yeah, I gotta drink that coffee. Yeah, you're ready. Yeah, I'm gonna do a portrait, or more like a study or a tribute. It's I'm not a portrait artist per se. Like, that's not my forte, but it's warm up time. Hey, Captain Jetlag, you're back. Holy shit, people. Captain Jetlag is back. Sri Lanka. Or Sri Lanka. That's pretty cool, man. That is a tasty vacation, Captain Jetlag. Alright, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Let's do this. How was Sri Lanka? Was it good? I'm quite sure it was good. Oh man, Captain Jetlag, that sounds fantastic. Were you a lot of people, or did you solo it, or did you go with, as you say, we, our? I mean, you wrote our, which means you're more than one. Hey, one Amir Levy and Quentin. The one and only Quentin, which the name I mispronounce every day. Rip. Captain Jet like, that's cool. That's cool. It's always fun to be more than be more than one person, especially when traveling. It makes it feel a lot nicer, to go places. It's I used to go travel a lot, but what I used to do was I used to travel alone, which is not so fun. But for me, it was nice. But a lot of times when you were traveling alone, you were like, ah, why did I go alone? Oh, really, Captain Jetlag? You're coming to Riga? Awesome. I'll buy you a beer. Bonamir, yeah, it's time to celebrate or pay tribute, I think. Oh, really? You went with two Latvians? Awesome. Hey, Dame Deviant, thank you very much for the host. Much appreciated. You're gonna win a beer. I appreciate you returning as well, uh, Dame Deviant. Fantastic. Hopefully, we have one more to the gang. Captain Bose, Riga is in Latvia. Latvia. It's a very different country, and the city itself is also very different. It's a city of contrast, lots of different contrast, elements of contrast in the city, which makes it quite an interesting thing. I like it that Stanley's face was all crooked. Captain Bose, I live in Riga. Yeah, I go to London now and then. I do work for London. Uh, London. I mean, yeah, exactly. In my mind, I still live in London. I used to live there though for no, 6 years. Only the last few years I've been living in Riga. Hey, Eric Moo, how's it going? How's it going? But yeah, I remember when what's his name? Oh my gosh, Geiger. How could I forget Geiger's name? When H.R. Geiger died, it was around the time where I had just finished working on the Alien franchise, and I had been deep diving into his mind because what I was doing for Alien Isolation was I was setting up like art Bible for them, uh, so that they kind of started figuring out the shape language, and I scoured through materials and I had to look up the original concept or work for the the extra passenger of the ship, aka the alien, and I also looked up Geiger's work. Well, more than usual. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of his, but yeah, and I have his art book, and I always found his art interesting and provocative and so on. And I had the huge pleasure of um, trying to pay tribute to his work through Alien Isolation and do the research correctly and try to give them as much info as possible to stay true to the original idea of the alien, because they wanted um, Creative Assembly wanted to stay as close as possible to the original. They wanted to create a genuine experience. So in that return, I also painted a tribute to Geiger when he passed. And I did a short stint on Thor, um, but I think Stan Lee didn't make Thor, did he? No, he did. I mean, it's arbitrary what time it is because I work on UK time, but the local time zone I think is +2. Dame, yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, I try to stay true to like painting techniques to some degree. Obviously, I mean, it's stupid not to try to do it correctly, but I do appreciate the idea of building a painting with the right steps, mush around with paint in a sense, because it's not so much the end result that I'm excited about. Usually, when painting, a huge part of what I absolutely love is the process of painting itself, and then the colors are way off. Uh, I think I'm gonna try to push them in the right space soonish, but I think I messed up a bit. We'll see. We'll see if I can save it. I mean, no, it's +2. I messed up with the colors. Hey Cameron, a spicy Latino. You are back. Welcome back. Glad to have you back, sir or ma'am. Don't know which part of the world you're from. Dame, yeah, absolutely. Um, Personally, I'm a huge fan of painting, and if you go back on the warm ups and have a look, there's a lot of experimentations with different processes and so on, and a lot of the experimentations are also based on traditional techniques, but put through the filter of a computer or modern adaptations of painting techniques. But one thing I've always enjoyed is the idea of brushstrokes. Like that's something I don't think I will ever be able to um, not do. Provoking parts. Oh, really? No, I love the process way more than having the finished painting. I mean, to be fair, the finished painting is great to have the end result, right? That you can go, ha, look what I can do. Uh, and that being said, it's that feeling of finishing something is a great feeling, and I love it, and that's why I also keep painting a lot of times. Um, but um, I do love the process of making the painting, of like choosing the brush strokes and what color should it be over there and all these things. I love it. It makes things a lot more enjoyable. And the idea, I think, of carving carving a volume is really exciting for me. By like cutting almost like clay, which is for me one of the most beautiful aspects of painting, of of like 3D, uh, the sense of 3D in a painting, or like the volume and textural details of a painting. And that's why, for example, I really enjoy looking at a lot of artsy painters and the way they represent form with a simplified brushstroke rather than perfectly rendered CG painting. Cameron, Erica Ricky, how's it going, man? Yeah, Spider-Man's daddy. I'm the neighborhood Spider-Man. He turned very Donald Trump in his skin tone. I think I need to do something about that. not dodge, maybe a screen or an overlay. Let's try screen first. I gotta pink him up a bit. Mm. Kind of. Time to do some repairs. Yeah, I messed up. Like I said from the beginning, I spotted it. I knew I had messed up. But what? Hey, Janae, how's it going? How's it going, Janae? Okay, so what I gotta do is also go darker here because I'm losing some of that contrast. Dame, yeah, it's a shame when that happens. When a uni course isn't up to what you would have liked. When I went to uni, I went to 3D animation. At that time, it was more or less the only offer on the table if you wanted to have game development education. So I went to 3D animation, programming, and design, and not design as in art design, but as in structural design or game design in that sense of uh, the theory. So that kind of sucked balls. But you had to do what you want. You had to make it into. You had to make it work for you. Like for me, I didn't accept the fact that they didn't have anything to offer. So what I did was I created opportunities for me to further myself, not through the means of the school, but through my own accord. And that was it was a really fruitful time because I made shit happen, like because I had time, because I was in university and not having to work because I came from just normal person jobs. Hey, Loma, how's it going? Provoking perch. To some degree, yeah, sure. I think I think I did pick up a thing here and there. Hey, Atsugi, thank you very much for the support. Very much appreciated, Atsugi. Dame. Oh, really? Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's about. It's not about where you learn it, but how you learn it. Or for me, it's more of uh, learning the right way for you rather than the school X has the best education, period. What usually happens when a school is known for good education is that they have broad enough education path that hits most enough people, and the quality of the teaching is high. And what I mean hits enough people is like, for as an example, like anatomy books, Loomis or Bridgman or all these other artists. And not all fits everyone, right? Because then everyone would just use one. And it's about like finding which that works for you the best, and then you use that one to learn from, right? And it's the same with schools and techniques and so on. For me, it's like, okay, I can teach myself, but it's going to be the long road, right? I need to break all the information down. I need to figure it out in order to teach myself. But when I do learn it, it's going to sit there solidly forever, because I'm taking the long road. And for some people, when you go to school, you'll learn the fast way, in a specific way to do it more so than like the broad understanding of every nuance of something. And I find that aspect of being self-taught quite interesting and enjoyable, of taking the long road but breaking everything down into systematic parts. You can kind of start figuring them out yourself, because that's, for me, that's a little bit like the old school way of doing things, where there was no gumroads and there was no one teaching you how to do it, and you had to just figure it out yourself, like Photoshop. What is this Photoshop thing? And then you explore Photoshop and see what it can do, and in a way you make it your own, because there is no one telling you how to do it, right? So you just have to figure it out yourself. And through that path, there's a lot of unique artists came out at the beginning, because everyone was figuring out together. Goro Fujita is a VR evangelist at the moment, but he's a well-known illustrator, and he came from the same start as I did, from the same forums. We've been friends ever since like end of '90s, and he talked about it at THU this year, of how it was back then, and he made it in conjunction with that VR is the new frontier, much like digital art, like 15 years ago was the frontier, which now the digital art is no longer frontier. It's everyday thing. It's not anything exciting or new anymore. It's just more of the same. Ricky, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with that as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong by learning from someone. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely valid to learn from someone, and you can learn it really good, really fast, and I think it's a valid thing to do. But personally, I love the because it's been my prime experience has been teaching myself. Right. That's where I'm from. That's the school of me. Right. But there's nothing wrong with learning from someone else, and I think it's definitely the future. The future is now in that sense that online learning and sharing information is a constant nowadays. It's not even a question of if, it is a constant process that's happening because the sharing of information is never ends. It's constantly being shared. Maybe not in a perfectly packaged deal, but the fact that you can just go on Facebook or hit DeviantArt or whatever ArtStation and you'll get avalanched by tons of stuff instantly. Which I think also is the is the beauty of modern day. 40 seconds. God damn. It's an okay portrait. It's not super accurate. There's some wonkiness going on. Um, but I'd say it's kind of good enough. For 30 minutes, I'd say it's passable. Would I have liked done it better? Most likely, yeah. I messed up on the color, and a lot of time was spent correcting the colors rather than them being able to roll with it. I should have changed them earlier, so I didn't need to struggle with it. But I think in the end, it turned out pretty okay, decent. It's a decent result. It's good enough as a tribute to the man. It's better than not tributing him at all in that sense. Yeah. One last liquefy. See if I can correct it. He needs his middle of the face needs to be lifted a bit more, kind of like that. He's so crooked. This needs to pop out. Ah, closer. Ah, it's good enough. The link is underneath the stream. Provoking perch, yes, absolutely. Hey, who's good? Captain Jetlag, that's cool. That's all good. That's all good. So let's see who we can raid. Oh, he's making a pretty cool model. Let's raid him and see what he's up to. I haven't raided him in a while. Did I spell that right? I did not. Let's see. All right, let's raid this person. This guy is a 3D ZBrush modeler. He does some pretty interesting stuff. He's quite skilled. Have a great one, everyone, and outro time. See you guys tomorrow morning. Good night, good day. Bye.